I understand. You have a Gone Baby Gone situation, right?
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
Welcome to SinCast, presented by Cinemasins.
All right, everybody, welcome to the SinCast. This is Chris Atkinson from Cinemasins, joined as always by the voice of Cinemasins, Jeremy Scott.
Hello, everybody.
And from Music Video Sins, Barrett Share.
Yo.
That was deep. That was
very deep. So about 10 years ago, the Harry Potter franchise ended. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2 ended an 8-movie franchise that started in 2001, which was, if you do the math, 20 years ago.
Hold on. Hey, hang on.
Mm-hmm.
1, 2.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's what I got too.
It's 20. Okay.
That's the social network right there.
Yeah, social network. So we thought we would talk about the Harry Potter movies.
Yes.
As an anniversarial thing.
Anniversarial.
You're a wizard, Harry.
You're saying it wrong. It's Leviosa.
Mr. Potter.
Why spiders? Why couldn't we follow the butterflies?
I love magic.
I watched Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone for the first time in forever recently, and I had forgotten a lot of things about this movie. I've read all the books as well, but there are certain things like, if you ask me what's the difference between the book and the movie, I couldn't tell you anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, for all of you others out there, this is the Philosopher's Stone,
Yes.
not the Sorcerer's
You
Stone.
others.
That's right.
You
You
Brits.
others who are doing it the right way, but Americans, we need to have something in there that says magic, intrigue.
I don't know. I guess. Would English or would American audiences not
people
get
who
that?
liked Harry Potter books would have gone to watch Philosopher's Stone, but I think they're worried about the people who don't read books. These kids are so tiny,
No,
man.
they're so little. They're like little G.I. Joe people. They're like an inch tall.
Yeah.
God, I just want to squeeze his cheeks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know.
He really does look 8 years old in this first movie, and I'm sure he was like 12 or whatever the fuck. But you go back and look at, the first movie, and you realize how much they got right in terms of casting, but just the look and feel of Hogwarts, the stuff that would end up carrying on through the whole rest of the series. You cast one of those three main kids wrong, and you're fucked.
Yep.
You're absolutely fucked.
They struck gold.
They really did.
With them and with Tom Felton, with Malfoy.
Yeah.
Now, the rest of them, as we'll get into, is every famous British actor ever.
Yeah.
Is the rest of the cast. But, Maggie Smith as McGonagall was perfect.
McGonagall.
Robbie Coltrane as Hagrid was perfect. Richard Harris arguably was perfect as Dumbledore. Unfortunately, didn't make it through the whole series. And I think, as I was telling Chris, I think Michael Gambon actually is a better Dumbledore.
He is. He's more mysterious. It worked out. It's not. I can't say it worked out perfectly when somebody died. It worked out very well because the first two movies, Dumbledore is more kindly.
Yeah.
And as the kids are growing up, he gets a little darker mystery edge when Gambon comes on to play him. And maybe that's the way it would have gone with Harris too. Maybe that's the way the character was intended to be all along. But I kind of prefer Gambon a little bit. You know what I really wish, having seen Paddington 2, is I wish Hugh Grant could have played some villainous somebody.
He was the only famous British actor that was not in this.
I mean, he could have done the Kenneth Branagh role just fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's literally the only British actor that's not in these movies.
Literally.
Even Christian Bale is somewhere in these movies.
He's playing the twin.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Watching that first one, I was like, I often think about how we would do Sins videos of a movie like this today, because I'm sure we didn't go into a deep delve mode or anything, but I was sitting there going, why is there this fucking, you have the 3-headed dog guarding a trapdoor, which goes down into a plant that eats you. and then they have to play a chessboard, and it's like, luckily they have 3 people.
Yeah.
You know, and then they have to look into a mirror, and the mirror, you have to want the Sorcerer's Stone, but not to use it.
Right.
Why would you bother guarding it? There's a million different things you could do to guard it.
Yeah.
And you didn't have to go through all of that to do it. And I'm just I was sitting there going, why? Why is all this here? You could lock this up in a secret place and just nobody ever sees it. You know? And then if they do, they'd have to want it, but not to use it.
Right.
This is a hallmark of Harry Potter stories, by the way. The whole thing where, like, why didn't the bad guys get it? They got all the way to the mirror, and everything is like, they wanted it and they wanted to use it.
You have to want it, but not want it.
How do you put that in your magic spell into your mirror? Like, I mean, do you have to incant in some way to say, tell that mirror, like, that, you need to read their mind and their thoughts and their soul, and you need to make sure that they want that they want it and want it only.
Yeah, I mean, it's as silly as the snap in the end of the MCU, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because Thanos has a very clear picture of, I want to get rid of 50% of the population, but then Bruce can somehow bring everybody back, but then Tony can only eliminate the bad guys.
Yeah.
Because he's using the powers of his with mind bullets.
The mind bullets.
And, of course, it's also silly, too, the fact that somehow some things that seem really, really simple turn into things that are really, really difficult. Like when they're trying to learn to fly, and, like, of course, Harry, because he's born to be a fucking seeker, it says up to his broom, and it goes straight to him. Meanwhile, Hermione, who's like the best at everything, is like up, and it's not doing it for some reason, because I guess brooms don't like Hermione.
Yeah.
And then we talk about the ridiculousness of Quidditch, which was wisely faded out in the books and then therefore the movies. Yeah. Because that sport is dumb.
Dude, in the book, in the first couple of books, there's probably more background on Quidditch than there is of, like, the history of elves in the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so now you have Seekers and you have Bludgers and you have the Snitch or the Skitch or the
It's the Snitch.
Am I the only one who just literally skipped over any time Tolkien wrote in Elvish? Because he would write entire passages in Elvish, and I would just...
Well, yeah, what are you going to do?
Well, I'm sure there are purists who are like, Lovlothium, Flaflataboo.
Yeah.
But I just, every time that happened, I just scanned for English.
Well, yeah.
THs
to me, it was what's the point? If I can't read this, then, and you don't translate it, then there's no point in me. And I'm sure for others, it's like, okay, I'll go consult the consortium or whatever the fuck it is. Yeah. And they'll be like, read it and like, oh, okay, this gives me a lot of deeper meaning in the visit with Mr. Brandlebush. But yeah, I definitely skip over stuff like that. Yeah, like Quidditch. I was sitting there like in the first movie. I was like, okay, maybe in the first movie it made more sense or whatever, and they explained the rules and everything. It's like there's gonna be a bunch of people throwing balls into these little hoops. There's a goalie, and they're like, okay, you get points throwing the balls through the hoops. Okay, cool. And then it's like, oh, by the way, if you catch the snitch, which ends the game, which you have to do to end the game, you win. And I'm
right.
like,
it doesn't fucking matter, right?
Yeah, it doesn't.
I don't get it.
I guess, I mean, I don't know if there's a total of points awarded. Like, is there 150 or something like that? Like, if you had a game strategy that said we're not going to find the snitch, then your strategy would be we got to throw as many balls through these hoops as we can.
Yes, yeah,
but
yeah, because you do get like a bonus points prize when you get the snitch, and then the game is over. But I guess you can lose if you don't have, even if that doesn't get you over the hump with points.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a bunch of bullshit.
And there's a keeper right in front of the goal.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, which is, I think, Percy is the guy who's the key. I think that's who it is.
He's the head boy.
That's right. But yeah, I like that first one a lot, though. Chris Columbus is the director here. He's obviously picked because he was able to work well with children, Home Alone and stuff like that.
Baby's Day Out.
Baby's Day Out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Small children.
Right. It's got this. The first two Harry Potters have this sort of Disney movie of the week feel to it.
Yeah.
Which is not. I mean, cinematically, that's kind of. It sounds lame, but like it actually feels like a good family movie.
Oh,
like
yeah.
it really does feel like something you'd watch on a Disney Sunday night or something with your kids before you go to bed and everything. The John Williams score in this is fantastic. That theme song is great.
Mm-hmm.
So good.
It really gets you in. Now, some of the score is great, but it sounds like rejected stuff from Indiana Jones.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. It's good. Don't get me wrong.
In this first movie?
In the first movie.
Yeah, I got you. I got you.
There's a lot of things in there that sounds like Indiana Jones is going
Yeah.
through a corridor of some sort.
Yeah,
And he's John Williams is back in the early 80s doing it and everything. But great start. I mean, it obviously. I mean, you talk about getting the casting wrong. Imagine just getting the first movie wrong.
Yeah.
We saw what happened with Chronicles of Narnia after Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Yeah.
It may be a different argument though, because everybody knows the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Whereas Prince Caspian is where everybody stopped reading, I guess.
I guess.
But Prince Caspian wasn't a good movie either.
No, I agree.
The other one, I should say, as far as casting goes, that they hit gold with was Alan Rickman.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you we'll get into this even more later on, but like the way that he can chew into dialogue is perfect for Snake. Mr. Potter
Yeah.
is just like, hey, and he has the perfect costume, the perfect hair. He is the perfect embodiment of that character. Especially if you read. Did you read the books ahead of seeing that first movie, or did you start reading after the first one?
I had read Sorcerer's Stone before the first movie. I think he even read Chamber of Secrets before the first movie.
Okay.
Then every book that came out from that point forward, I read just before the movie.
Okay.
And then I did something I had never done before with Deathly Hallows. I bought the book the next day that it came out after the midnight where everybody. I remember I was on the bus in New York when the Deathly Hallows came out, and we were going past the Barnes and Noble, that I would always go by, and there's like this fucking huge line. Watching
that was the biggest book release maybe of my lifetime, I think.
Yeah.
It was a big deal.
And I remember going, I'll go and check tomorrow and see if there's any copies. And I went in, I walked in, there was like 1 million books there, picked one up, went in there, got it. And then I read it, I guess, in the next week or so. Yeah. And because it's just one of those, I think it's one of those books that just, someone's going to just say some stupid shit someday, and it's just because you're going to hear it. Now it's on Twitter. So the first one, did it, and then in the Chamber of Secrets, it follows. It's Chris Columbus again. We're continuing the story. What do we want to say about Chamber of Secrets?
Sucks. I'm sorry. I just wanted to say something cutesy there. What I have always admired about the books, separating that from the author. And the movies don't have this risk really because the books were already a massive hit, is how much gratification is delayed. Like Voldemort doesn't show up until the 4th fucking movie, and he doesn't fight anybody until the 5th fucking movie, but he's mentioned in the first movie.
Yeah.
It's kind of ballsy like, George Lucas, right? Because he had this Darth Vader who's his big bad, but if the first movie flops, then Darth Vader's never going to be a big bad, right? Like, the Death Star itself is I guess he's kind of the big bad at the end of that movie, but it's not, to tease a villain, but not all of it, and just have the patience.
Well, and I will say, you are right. He's mentioned, he does make an appearance in the first movie. It's just as a
At the back of that guy's head.
Back of that guy's head. He's a phantasm of some sort or whatever. I don't know what the fuck you would call him. It's one of those things.
He's a Quado.
Yeah, he's a Quado. He's a Quado. He really is a Quado.
He really is.
What is it? Quirrell is the Defense of the Dark Arts teacher. Is sort of hosting him, basically. And then in the second one, in Chamber of Secrets, he's another.
He's like a kid version of himself.
Yeah,
right?
it's like Tom Riddle or whatever. So he's appearing. Because he's only appearing as these type of things because he's not powerful enough, which I'll never understand.
Yeah.
It's like you came back from the dead and now there's a process. Where
There is a process.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a strengthening.
Yeah. Voldemort, the strengthening.
So the second one is this is the one with Kenneth Branagh, friend of the show.
Yes, friend of the show.
The dim-witted Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher.
That's right.
And this is the one with the sword and the giant snake and saving my future wife.
Actually, yeah. That's exactly right.
I just want to make sure I'm in the right movie.
This is the first appearance of Dobby the House Elf, which, I don't know, you saw this recently. I remember being really great effects, like on par with Gollum at the time.
Seriously, that was one thing that I noted from the watch of the first movie was that the effects hold up.
Yeah.
If you like this is, we're getting into an era where if a movie with a huge budget got made with some effects or whatever, there's not really much you can pick at. Obviously there's some, we pick on effects all the time because there are a lot of shitty effects. But if a movie like this usually has the money to do it exactly right.
Yeah.
Harry Potter does that. Like especially in Chamber of Secrets when they're getting attacked by that tree in the car, it looks amazing.
Yeah.
Well, this is ILM, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But in 2001, if you look back at something 20 years ago, like 1981 or whatever, and saw the effects, you'd be like, yeah, we've come a long way.
What I think you're saying is that the effects in Harry Potter, Sorcerer's Stone, are better than the effects in She's All That.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Correct.
Same era.
Yeah.
They somehow made Rachel Lee Cook beautiful at the end of that movie when she was so hideous.
She's so hideous.
At the beginning.
It was the glasses.
It was the glasses and the art.
That's right.
The hacky sack performance art. I can't stop. There's so much pressure. A hacky sack. Freddie Prinze Jr., who I've conversed with on Twitter.
That's right. One thing that's great about this first movie and the second movie is the world building is really good too. Getting yourself acclimated to that world. I mean, it's your usual walk and talk type of shit, because Hagrid's taking Harry through the Diagon Alley and everything, and it's like, here are all these cool things that are going to kind of show up later on. The Nimbus 2000. Why are we excited about a broom? I don't know, but it's the Nimbus 2000, and the way the wand chooses the person that's going to wield it and everything, and it has this whole thing. John Hurt is like, I wonder. Because he's gone through two wands and they were bullshit. And he goes in the back room like there's a bunch of you're at a fucking Foot Locker or something.
Yeah.
And
let me check in the back. Let me check in the back. See what I got. What, 7.5, right?
That's awesome.
And he's like, all right. He picks up this box and he's like, try this, and the wind blows through Harry's hair and everything. He's like, "Ooh, that's amazing," or whatever. It's like the one that made this, the phoenix that made this had two feathers. One went to one guy, and one's going to you.
Oh,
that's very interesting.
Yeah.
By the way, the other one was Voldemort.
Oh, bum, bum,
there's all that connection between Voldemort and Harry. What is it? It's super mysterious, man. What is that? What is it? It's a scar on his head, right? Something's going on with that scar. We got to figure that out. There's a lot of really cool fucking things in that Diagon Alley thing, and it builds up that world really well.
And of course, at the very beginning, I remember, because this is one of the my favorite chapters I've ever read, is the first chapter of the first Harry Potter book. And terrible ex-girlfriend, who was my current girlfriend at the time, that turned me on to it and turned me on.
Hey, all
That's
right.
And I was like, this is for kids. This is a young adult novel or whatever. I was absolutely hooked with that first chapter. And the same goes for the first scene in the first movie, where McGonagall and I guess it's Hagrid and Dumbledore are meeting outside of Harry's place after you see, James and Lily killed by Voldemort. Although I guess you don't see that in the first scene, right?
No,
it's later on, but you see like a flash, and you don't really know what's going on.
I can't remember who it is that starts telling them the story. It's either Ollivander or it's Hagrid later that tells him what happened, and then you see a flashback of all that. But we don't know at the time what Harry's mom did to make it happen. You just think that he is somehow special in some way. That's how the
child who lived.
That's right. There's something about this throughout the books until they get to those explanations. I think that's one thing that J.K. Rowling did really well too, was building up a mythology and then showing you some of the bad stuff that's built on that mythology.
Yeah,
a lot of times, they're in later books and later movies as well. They show how kind of a shitty person Harry's dad was.
Yep.
And he was shitty to Snape and all that. So I like that type of stuff when it's, it builds up this kind of thing like, oh man, he must be really special. He must have had some, so he's like this new child that's been born that has this amazing magical ability and everything. It's really not that by the time it gets to the end, but
plus he's rich. He's rich as fuck.
He is rich as fuck. Mm-hmm.
And the Weasleys are Poe.
Mm-hmm.
And Hermione's just kind of middle class.
Yeah. And never see her. We see her parents at the point that they make everybody forget stuff, but we don't see them before then.
They're muggles. They're dirty muggles. We don't care about them.
That's right. Now Chamber of Secrets is sort of like, it's like a true sequel, right? Like it's got the same kind of structure. Like, well, there's this evil thing going on. We got to figure out what it is. We got to solve puzzles. We got to do this. We got to sneak around the castle and make sure that asshole doesn't see us.
This is where they first used the Polyjuice potion,
yes,
right?
where Harry and Ron become
Crab and Goyle.
Yes. Which is, one of the many things that, is, we were talking about this before. Why don't they use this shit later on?
They use it once. They use it later on, but they should use it all the time.
Yeah. Well, except that didn't it turn Hermione into a kitty cat or some bullshit? It's dangerous.
Oh, it did.
You gotta be careful.
There was one point where it changed her into a thing for a while, and then
she didn't come out of the bathroom because she was a cat, or whatever.
Yeah,
but
happens to me all the time.
That's the thing that movies and books and everything do, right? They introduce something, and because there's one weird side effect that obviously we shouldn't even worry about that much happens. They're like, we better not do that again.
Well, and this series is notorious. We're gonna get into the Time Turner and other shit as we move forward, but almost every one of these movies has something like that in it that they could have used every adventure out, but they just didn't.
Well, and the Marauders map, I think, was in the first one, right? The one where it shows the map of Hogwarts.
I think that's the second one.
I think it's the second one, because the first one is the invisibility cloak.
Okay, it's just like a video game. He keeps collecting items, right?
Yeah,
that he can use later on.
And there's a pretty cool suspenseful scene in that with the invisibility cloak, because Harry happens upon Snape arguing with Quirrell in one of the hallways.
Oh, that's right.
And he moves by, and Snape is like, what was that?
Yeah.
And he, of course, Snape being Snape, knows that there's all sorts of things that it could be.
Sure.
And he reaches out, and Harry's just backing up just slightly out of the way as he reaches and everything. That's what we keep going back to the first one, but the first one, there's all these things that keep happening with Snape where it's like, he's a bad guy. Watch out for that guy. He's a bad guy. Of course, by the end of the first one, it's proven that he's not. He's actually helpful, but he's also not going to kiss anybody's ass.
Yeah, he's still a bastard, man. Like he's the head of Slytherin, right?
Yep.
And he's an asshole in class, like all the way through the series. He's an asshole to Harry because he associates him with his father, who was a dick to him.
The first day of class, he's like, Harry Potter, do you know what goes into this potion? The first day of class. and he's like, shows that fame isn't everything. Yeah, he's such a dick.
Fucking Snape.
I know, he's such a dick.
I hope he gets his.
Yeah, right. I hope he gets thrown out of a building. That's actually Dumbledore that gets thrown out of a building.
Well, the actor who played Snape got thrown out of a building.
That's true. That's true. Hey, you know what? You can cut all that because he got thrown out of the building in Die Hard. That was his come up. I think we did an outtake, by the way, when Dumbledore dies, and we did that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I don't feel like we've said enough about Chamber of Secrets, but I don't remember that movie.
Yeah, let's move on. The first two are...
It's the basilisk. The basilisk will come into play later on, the fang and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. That's where you basically summarize the movie. He saves his future wife, Dobby, things, Kenneth Branagh.
He fangs the diary.
Yeah, fangs the fuck out of that
Snake
diary.
go dead.
He finger fangs it.
I always remember Sean Hattassi in one of those raunch comedies calling it Stink Finger.
Yeah.
Stink Finger.
Is it Outside Providence?
It's Outside Providence.
Oh yeah.
Oh Jesus. That's a Farrelly Brothers joint, right?
Yeah, it is.
They produced it, I think. I don't think they directed
Peter Farrelly wrote it too.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good book. But yeah, what is it? What does Alec Baldwin keep calling him? Dildo. Mm-hmm. He's like, what are you doing, dildo? That's his first New England.
You know this movie better than I think anyone.
I've read the book and seen the movie a few times.
All right, but I'm right about the Stink Finger.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Prisoner of Azkaban is the time travel one. Alfonso Cuarón directs this one, and I believe when this movie was being made, because remember the first couple of books are very, very thin. They're 200
Relatively,
pages.
Yeah.
The Prisoner of Azkaban is, I think, a 500-page thing, maybe 400, because it gets bigger and bigger as it goes along. So it's like 400 or 500. And Cuarón said, I think we should split this into two because there's so many things that we're not going to be able to put in. This is actually after Kill Bill has done this, I believe, but it's becoming a discussion about splitting things into two, and we start seeing that a lot after this. But Prisoner of Azkaban gives us Gary Oldman. Which is he is fantastic as Sirius Black in this. David Thewlis is in this one as well.
What a great character, Remus Lupin.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah,
he gets introduced on the train ride with it's the first Dementors.
Yeah,
a reference. It's the first time we've really heard about Azkaban. Certainly, anyone escaping it or anything. And it's the Patronus, the birth of the Patronus charm.
Well, I like
the little deer that prances around.
That does whatever you need it to in the moment.
Yes.
What I like about it is that it basically plays you. If you're like me and you didn't read the books, you aren't sure about Sirius Black. The movie tries very hard to make you question him and think maybe he's not a good guy, and then it kind of flips on the end. And of course, by the next movie, he's like the most loving god uncle you've ever met in your life. But there's question about him, and I liked that. It created this intrigue, whereas most of the characters are pretty straight.
Well, and he the way Rowling and the movie does it is that he is a part of this family who doesn't like non-pure blood people. So like he's a part of this, who's it? The Helena Bonham Carter plays
Bellatrix Lestrange.
Yeah, he's a part of that family, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where you get that doubt, because why was he able to get through that without being that way and everything? But he definitely becomes a hero figure in this. The Time Turner thing is I have twisted myself in knots on this one, because I've always felt like the way it works, the idea that you can't run into yourself. I'm not going to get into the time travel, okay? There's just too much bullshit. But the way it's described to have worked and everything, and you go back the one time and you take this. This is what Hermione's doing. She's using it to take classes. She takes the one class and then she turns it back and takes another class so that she's in two places at the same time.
Where'd she come from?
That got to be the dumbest fucking use of time travel ever.
Yeah.
But it's also...
I want to learn more.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Let's go back in time.
Yeah.
Let's see some wars and Babylon and shit. I want to learn geometry.
Yeah.
In addition to algebra.
This is probably stuff I already know anyway because I'm Hermione. But I've always felt the way that it worked, I feel like you could still run into yourself.
Oh, of course. Yeah, absolutely.
And well, then somebody would say, well, why didn't you run into yourself the first time? I don't feel like that's the way it works. Like the way it was described to me in the thing. Like if you took it the one time, you are independent of that. And then the second time you do it,
you know where you're going to be in the second time, and that's why they hide and all that stuff with the Buckbeak stuff.
And so but anyway, that the time turner stuff is interesting and amusing in this, because they go through this one thing at one point. Harry gets hit with a rock, and he's like, "What the fuck is this all about?"
Yeah.
And they even say that in the movie. What the fuck was that?
Fucking shit! Fucking
rock
cocksucker!
to me.
And then later, not knowing that they were those people, that they were responsible for all the weird stuff that you saw.
That is neat.
It's very cool.
And I even think the payoff is neat, because he's frustratingly convinced the Patronus he saw was his dad.
Yeah.
To an annoying degree. But that pays off at the end when he and you realize it's fucking him. It was him the whole time.
Yeah.
I love the way this movie pays that off. I hate all the time travel shit. I hate how much of this movie rests on somebody turning their head the wrong direction at the wrong time. But I love the payoff. And it's the first Harry Potter movie that gave me emotions. So it holds a special
It's
place in my
also
heart.
fucking beautiful to watch.
It is.
Alfonso's got the eye.
He does, man. And much like Columbus was probably picked because of he did A Little Princess, and that was. I will once again recommend A Little Princess to you guys. It sounds like a children's girly movie, but you need to watch this if you haven't. I really like this. I mean, there's some things in there that the fans would be upset about they cut because the book is so big and everything. But I watched this movie right after reading it, and I was like not sitting there going, "Oh, but they didn't have that part."
I mean, if anything, the movie's too long. Like by the time
it's 2:20.
By the time they're going through it, the finale the first time, you're like, oh, they're going to do all this again. This is not the end yet.
Well, okay, so this is a lot of people, I don't know if most people, but a lot of people point to this as the best one of the series.
It's up there.
It's up there, but I have one that I still think.
I agree. And having watched this again fairly recently, you remember the beginning of this movie? Where Aunt Petunia comes over and he blows her up and then he wanders off. And then
there's always got to be the comedy thing at the beginning because Harry lives with awful, awful people. By the way, that's another fucking thing. We took this to task in the Sins video too, by the way. It's like, all right, I understand. You have a Gone Baby Gone situation, right?
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
Jesus. Yes, you do. But if you
Dumbledore has this moment where he's like,
if you apply my Gone Baby Gone perspective to this situation, I'm on the wrong side, and I don't like that.
Yeah, I know, exactly. We're here to say things that make you uncomfortable, Jeremy. They find this kid who has just been saved, and then they're going to take it to these awful fucking people who have no way of being able to put him in the right culture for magic and everything. Of course, in the first movie, they're trying to send 1 million fucking letters to him, and Papa Dursley is always ripping him up, and
he's under the fucking stairs.
Yeah, and he lives under the stairs.
God damn it! They're abusing this poor child.
Yeah, that's a straight up abuse.
Yeah.
damn it.
And so, like, I'm just sitting there going, they don't want him. Why didn't they just find a magical family?
Have him stay with the fucking Weasleys. They've got 9 kids anyway.
Right.
It's silly to me that she couldn't come up with some law, like that she had to default to human law here, because this is what would happen with humanity. If there's a family that is next of kin, that's who the authorities would leave the child with.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's just dumb. It's just really dumb. And I think it's a cheap way to build sympathy for Harry from a writing perspective.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, how are you going to not like the character who's being abused and having to live under the stairs? You're already in his corner by the 3rd chapter.
You can see them doing this in the first movie, up until he's 11 years old. Then Hagrid gets him whisked away.
If he can live 7 months out of the year at the school, he can live the other 5.
Yeah, just study, do some summer school or something like that.
Take time, take a time turner and do more school.
This really, honestly, is the one thing I think J.K. Rowling didn't think out the best. Like all the different, we're in a world of magic, yet there's all these weird problems that crop up that don't really need to at all. Mm-hmm. Harry living with these awful people. There's just, and then like every time she would answer that question in the books, it was always unsatisfying. Like what was it about Hogwarts? You couldn't do it if you weren't 15 or something. You couldn't stay at the place.
Oh yeah.
Or either you couldn't stay there ever, during the off season, or, you had to be a certain age. And of course you had to be 5 books in before he could actually do that.
Right.
By the time 5 books goes by, though, he is out of that house, I believe.
Yeah.
Like about 5.
He's staying with the Weasleys. Yeah.
So yeah, it was never satisfying. I think Jeremy's right. This was a way to get you to be like, but this kid's special. Why is he here? Why is he with these people and everything? They're so awful and everything. And it's supposed to make you drum up sympathy for a kid who, maybe she couldn't have otherwise.
A kid who, honestly, let's face it, has nothing to offer. This is not a hero. He's just a white sheet of paper walking through his life while teachers and Hermione's and Weasley kin save the day constantly.
He's a hero. He's got heroic
thing-
tendencies. He's got magic.
I'm just saying he's useless. He's useless. He's a useless wizard until the very end, when all he is asked to do is just fucking die. Just submit yourself.
Well,
and that's how he becomes powerful.
I think he does become heroic, though. I think he does eventually lead to people because
he does in the 2 movies away from now.
Right.
But in terms of saving the day with magic at the end of a movie, he almost never does. It's always somebody else.
The second movie, he stabs the book after he's been fucking poisoned by the basilisk.
Well, if I knew the second movie better, I'd have a crushing reply.
But he would also be dead. Yeah, exactly. He would also be dead if it weren't for the fucking bird of Deus es Vertica.
Yeah,
the phoenix sent from God in heaven to come save the day.
Yeah, that's true.
Harry's always lucking his ass out of this shit.
He is.
At the same time, like that was another thing is that both Harry and Ron are learning nothing in their classes.
Well, they're not. They're always fucking talking. They're fucking
I mean, they go to classes and you're like, what? Will you show some other than the boggart stuff later on?
Yeah.
Can you just show me something that you've learned that you know by memory at this point? There's the Lumos and the little like easy ones and everything like that, but it just seems like they never really learn anything in those classes. And we talked about it before in the Sins videos. Is this just Latin class, really? Like in disguise?
Yeah.
Because
just point and say something.
Say the
Latin.
right thing. And it never makes any sense why some of these kids aren't successful. Like they're like the very first time they do the Leviosa charm or whatever the fuck it is. It's Ron says it in a weird way, and Hermione like goes back and like it's Leviosa, not Leviosa. And but there's all these people you can hear them saying the right thing, and their feather's not moving up.
No.
Yeah,
You gotta want it.
It's
but
like
not want it.
presented as
Yeah.
both science and talent.
Right.
Like you can follow the recipe, but you could still fuck it up if you don't have the pure talent. Apparently,
Yeah.
That's right. This Prisoner of Azkaban also introduces us to Emma Thompson as Trelawney.
I think
right?
so.
The soothsayer that I can
Yeah.
never really figure out her character because
I
she
don't
does have some gifts, but then she doesn't.
I don't need her.
Yeah.
Well, she gets that portentous, like, you have the grim.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then the scene ends, and it's them walking out of class, and Ron's like, hey, you've got the grim. Like, what happened to the rest of that class?
Yeah,
Yeah.
seriously.
Did everybody just sit there in silence for the
Yeah,
rest of
that's
the
something-
class?
that's
and then
something
all of a
that-
sudden they walk out.
That's something that movies do all the goddamn time. You're just like, what? Wait a minute. How'd the rest of that go? They were in there for another 30 minutes and whatever. Yeah, I agree, Jeremy, that she's a worthless character to me. And
She is.
I don't understand how this is, and Hogwarts itself, I don't understand how they keep doing this shit. Where it's like, we're going to hire the Defense of the Dark Arts. We're going to hire this vain motherfucker here who obviously doesn't know his shit at all. And he's going to be the teacher of the defense. He's going to Dumbledore. You think is smarter than that, but apparently he's not.
I don't know. Maybe he's playing a 4-degree chess the whole time, and he's manipulating things to.
He must.
He's
I don't think-
Gandalfing it.
Well, the other ones like Lupin, even though he's a werewolf, which is this movie, Moody and stuff like that. Although he should have been able to figure out the Moody situation too. But like everything kind of makes sense except for Lockhart.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, Lockhart doesn't come back ever again in the series, right?
Well, he goes cuckoo, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's at the very end of this movie. He's shown in a straitjacket.
Yeah, straight check.
Okay, so why?
Yeah.
I guess maybe to attract people, but like everybody wants to go to fucking Hogwarts anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. It's like
Yeah.
it's like the Harvard of all the magic schools.
That's
It really
right.
is.
Yeah.
It really is.
Mm-hmm.
What I like is that they wait 4 whole movies to tell you there's more than one magic school.
Yep.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yep.
But the last thing about Prisoner of Azkaban that I wanted to say is that going back and watching it, there's no bigger Quaron fan than I am, but like, I don't know if I really love this movie. I like it a lot. There are a few one-shots, the Quaron special, when Mr. Weasley is telling Harry about Sirius being on the hunt for him.
Mm-hmm.
There's a nice little, like, probably 5-minute congruent shot that's very cool. But like, otherwise, it's kind of a Harry Potter movie with a steampunk beginning.
Yeah.
That has the weird like Jamaican guy on the little shrunken head that's hanging off the front of it.
Yeah.
And it's everybody's hair's all blowed out. Like it's all, I don't know.
This is also the one where Ron's rat Scabbers, we find out is a secret agent of Voldemort.
That's
Timothy
right.
Spall.
Timothy Spall. I like me some Timothy Spall, man.
Yeah, this is a whole shape shifting kind of movie. Like everybody in this is a something,
Yeah, because and they do. Listen, this is set up very well. I don't know who did the screenplay, but one of the first things is the difference between a werewolf and an animagus or animagus or whatever it is. And you find out that Lupin is a werewolf and Sirius is an animagus, and so is Pettigrew. Pettigrew's a big old bastard. He's a little
Peter
Weasley
Pettigrew.
motherfucker. Yeah, fucking
Scabbers. I always thought that was a dumbass fucking name for
Yeah.
that.
Steve Kloves wrote the screenplay for this, and I think he wrote most of them, if not
Okay.
all of them, for the movies. The next one is the most absurd one. It's also the the sort of the turn of the story basically into something that is completely dark at this point. The Goblet of Fire is the Triwizard Tournament. Where, as you were talking about, there are now other schools we didn't even know about. There's one from France. There's one from Denmark.
But the French one only has beautiful girls, and the Russian one only has burly men.
Yes,
It's
yes.
like, what the fuck? Why are there no French male wizards?
Right. Yeah. What's going
It's
on?
Eastern Europe. The Durmstrang
The
is
Durmstrang.
the institute where Grindelwald went to. back when he was a young lad.
Mm-hmm.
Who's that?
Johnny Depp.
I know. I just wanted to point out that was a dumb.
Don't you mean Grindelwald?
Yes, Grindelwald, which we probably said 400 times in that mini pod. The Goblet of Fire is the most absurd, though, because it's they put these very strict rules about putting your name in the Goblet of Fire to be a contestant in this. And Robert Pattinson, R-Pats, is the guy who throws it in, and he's accepted.
Diggs.
That's right, from the Hogwarts school. And then some asshole puts Harry's name in the cup, and it accepts it. And that makes it more than 3 people competing in the thing.
It's a quad wizard trope.
Yeah, it's a quad wizard. And they are like, well, the cup said Harry has to play.
Man, these people put a lot of trust in inanimate objects.
They really do.
Sorting hat.
Yeah,
the Tri-Wizard Cup.
That also holds the Sword of Gryffindor. Anyway, but what I've said this before, but the fact that they start this movie at the World Cup of Quidditch.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
And Victor Crumb
Yes.
is the lead fucking dude.
Yeah.
This movie's not bad, by the way. It's Mike Newell who did Donnie Brasco, one of our faves.
I think
Wedding
this
and a
movie's
Funeral.
bad.
I don't think it's bad. I think it's great to look at, but you're right. The story falls apart. But yeah, so this dude that's playing professionally in the fucking World Cup is also a student at this fucking
Never
institute.
explained. Never explained.
He was dating fucking Hermione, who's like 13 at this point.
There's a couple other magic gizmos that are used in this film that disappear mostly forever, like the portkey boot and the magic tent that when you go inside is 10,000 square feet. Like, you could fucking cure homelessness with this goddamn spell.
Yeah.
And instead, we're making big tents.
Right.
Yeah, big tents for the World Cup.
Yeah, so also we can tailgate at the fucking...
And if there are this many magic people at the Magic World Cup, there's got to be 300,000 spectators in that stadium. They need more than 3 goddamn schools.
That's
true.
You're
that scene alone suggests there's way more magic people in the world than any other scene suggests.
The census at Hogwarts can't be more than... couple hundred?
Yeah.
300 maybe?
That dining hall doesn't sit more than 300 or 400.
And that's the whole school, right?
That's the whole school.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so there's like 1,200 magic students in all
Unless
the world.
Durmstrang has like 15,000 students.
That's probably the explanation. There's some Harry Potter person typing on the thing right now. You don't know how large Durmstrang is. They put it inside one of those tents, so it's extra big.
This is also the most... It really, honestly, we said this in the video, like, how many problems are in the world that they could just solve with this? And yeah, again, we're making a tent big so that we can enjoy a game.
So the whole Weasley family can fit in there.
But this also has the most absurd Voldemort plot in it as well. The whole idea is that they... I'm going to try to reconstruct this because it's too fucking insane.
Yeah.
They want Harry Potter in the tournament, expecting him to win the tournament. First off, he has to win the tournament.
Yeah.
And he's going up against 3 people who are much older and more experienced, everything. Whatever. The chances of him winning the tournament are nearly nil, I would think. By some providence, he's able to touch that. Now that's a port key that he touches when he touches the trophy or whatever. And it takes him to this other place where Voldemort has finally gotten to the point where, he
looks like Ray Fiennes.
He looks like Ray Fiennes.
Yeah.
And then he wants to kill Harry Potter there, but it's like, how many things have to go right for this to work? Like you have a guy, I think it's Brendan Gleeson in this one, right?
That's Mad Eye Moody.
Mad Eye Moody. You have him in this as the new Defense of the Dark Arts teacher. You could get him to kidnap him at any time if you wanted to.
That's true. He does rig the stuff to help Harry win, but there's no guarantee.
Yeah.
I mean, how is he? I think he rigged the first one to where he'd find the egg.
He doesn't rig enough because...
Yeah, of course.
Because the underwater thing where they're supposed to save somebody they love or whatever the fuck it is, it's Arpats that comes to him and says, here's how you do, here's what I've been thinking. Or actually it was the egg or whatever where he has to go in the tub.
With Moaning Myrtle who looks at his junk.
Yeah.
Another important scene.
Moaning Myrtle, who is, I think, 30-something years old, but looks like she's 15.
The actress is?
Yeah.
So we were having this conversation before about people saying that, these actors are way too old to be playing this thing. No, they were almost the exact same age as the characters they were playing.
Yep.
With probably that only exception, or the very few exceptions.
Yeah, it gets like they start to get like a year or two older than they are supposed to be by the last 3 movies. But fucking epic movie, man. Fucking funny people. Fucking funny people.
Yeah, I know, right?
But yeah, it's an absurd plan that Voldemort has in this to get Harry when there are so many other ways to get him. That don't require fucking with this goblet of fire and fucking with the whole Triwizard tournament and all this other stuff. I mean,
what's funny to me is that every opening dinner, Dumbledore comes out and makes this giant fucking announcement that everybody should know. Everybody should know that the fucking Triwizard Cup is this year, right? But nobody fucking mentions it until he gets out there. It's like, by the way, there's Mad Eye Moody, welcome, and we have this inter-school cup that's a big fucking deal. It will consume everybody's interest this entire semester,
well, even
or
if
the whole year, actually.
Even if somebody like Harry doesn't know about it, his buddy Ron would certainly know about it.
Hermione would know.
Ron has all these brothers and sisters and people in the Ministry of Magic and everything. You would think he would have been like, Triwizard Tournament's coming this year, Harry. And he'd be like, that's exciting.
But it's seriously an oh, by the way.
Yeah, it really is.
It's introduced the new teacher, and then fucking here you go.
Fucking here you go. Also, this is every movie, they endanger these children's lives drastically, but the dragon thing here, like how easily the dragon just gets away when Harry's fighting him and then fucking chases him.
Yep.
And they're over destroying the roof of the school, and Dumbledore's just back at the stadium with everybody else going, twiddle my thumbs.
This happens all the fucking time. In Prisoner of Azkaban, he goes up to get the fucking snitch in that Quidditch match. He's just going to get the snitch. Dementors. Dementors all over the place. And later on, they're like, oh, Dumbledore was furious about that.
Yeah.
Well, then.
Yeah.
That'll learn him.
Well, as long as he's furious. Right. Well, and it gets to the point where you see scenes like that, like destroying things or they're putting people in danger or whatever. But and nobody really takes it that seriously because there's magic in the world and they can fix almost everything.
Yeah. People
nearly die and they fix them. They it feels like there's really no stakes until the movie says, "Oh, well, that person's dead."
Yeah. And this is the first time you've had kids petrified. You've had kids soul sucked. You've had kids. But this is the first time a character literally dies. The Arpats. He gets all cadavered.
Yes, he does.
Cadavered.
Yeah.
Leading us to Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix.
The best of the bunch.
Which
absolutely,
I believe, and now I am talking out of my ass here.
All right.
I believe the book is not looked at as one of the best.
Interesting.
Of the series. I read the book, and I also did not think it was that good of a book in the series. However, the movie is fucking awesome.
Fucking rad. It's an action movie. It's so well paced. It introduces Bellatrix Lestrange. It introduces the Order. So now you've got, before now it's been like a little kind of piecemeal, right? There's a good guy that comes in, and maybe he's not the good guy. Mad Eye is not the good guy at the end of it. The good Mad Eye is in a box. You've got a few people that are okay. Remus Lupin, but he's out doing werewolf shit. Now You got your Sirius Black. You got your Lupin. You got your Tonks. You got your Shacklebolt. You got a thing that can start going up against these guys, and I love it.
The reason this is the best movie is the final 25 minutes. Because after 4 movies, we finally get to watch a magic fight.
Yeah.
Right? Like, at least Star Wars gave us a lightsaber fight in the first film.
Yeah.
But this is like finally getting to see, and it's not just Voldemort and Dumbledore, although that is the chef's kiss of the whole thing.
Yeah.
But it's that fight leading up to it where we've got students, and then the Order shows up, and the Bellatrix Lestrange shows up.
No, when the Order shows up, that's fucking rad. What's funny is that they've got, it's like a gun. They've got all the students at wand point.
Yes, at one point. Well, and it's also
they really need to do
they just flick their wrists the entire scene to make magic happen, and then at the end she goes "Avacadabra," whatever. And like, why do some spells need words? Why do some spells just to flick? How does it fucking work? I don't care. This scene is amazing.
It's in the books.
The way that it is done, I haven't like sat down and studied it. I think if you frame by framed it, you would figure out what he does with this, shooting it and editing it and everything. But there's something to that. The music, I think, goes out. She says Avada Kedavra and the music goes out. Then you that music going out sucks you down a little bit because you're like, whoa, why did the music go down? It hits Sirius Black, and then you know it's fucking serious at that point. Like, you know that he's going to die. And there's something about that because it's in the middle of this chaos. Yeah. And then she's like, I've got a cover, and it's just like, boom.
Yep.
And
because he has just disarmed Lucius, I think. And basically everything is cool. Like, they've pretty much won. And then if I remember correctly, it's not like he's got this grimace on his face. He almost has like a smile on his face. And you're like, huh? And then all of a sudden he goes through the portal, the Stargate.
Yeah, the Stargate. Yeah, totally.
Stargate. Oh, man. But then Voldemort comes out, and Dumbledore keeps throwing Harry behind because Harry's not ready. It's a big fucking orgasm of awesome.
And the glass and the shield and then the turning it into sand.
Into a giant fire dragon head. And I've always said this before, but it cuts back to Ralph Fiennes going,
Yeah.
Oh, I'm getting chills just thinking about it. It's
that whole set piece is fantastic. Now, it's predicated on the whole prophecy thing, and that's just kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
But, and I think the rest of this movie is very, very good. But you're right. It's all in service of that last bit. That's the fucking money shot. Finally, we've been whacking off for
it's not
fucking
that
4
good.
movies.
When Harry faces Voldemort in the final movie, they don't get back to this level ever again in this series. This is the peak of the Harry Potter movies.
This is the start of David Yates directing everything.
Yeah, he's in it.
Yeah. It's obvious to me that once this movie came out, they were like, oh, we'll just make you do all of them at this point.
What had Yates done before this?
Practically nothing, from what I understand.
Is that right?
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, nothing that we've heard of. I'm sure he's done some awesome TV series that you Brits understand better than we do, but
Brits.
Yeah.
The Tichborne Claimant. That was his first movie.
Aha.
Okay.
I don't know what that is, but it sounds British as fuck.
Yeah, it does. It sounds as British as it can be. Like somebody was trying to come up with the most British thing ever.
The Tichborne Claimant. Other than that, as far as films go, the only other thing he's done besides Harry Potter is The Legend of Tarzan.
Oh, wow. With
your boy.
Yeah, Christoph Waltz.
Yeah, Christopher Walken's.
Mm-hmm.
Christopher Waltz.
Then we go on to Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. This is where Rowling has started to really make things have actual stakes. It's funny how far we've come at this point, right? The first couple of movies were, like I was saying, they're your Disney Sunday night movies at this point. Family friendly type of stuff. Of course, by the time Half-Blood Prince comes out, everybody who grew up with Harry Potter is now like a young adult, or they're even older.
Which is weird because this movie's the only one rated PG since Half-Blood Prince from what I've read.
We're talking about Half-Blood Prince.
No, I'm sorry, since Prisoner of Azkaban.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
Is Half-Blood Prince PG?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Interesting. I thought it was PG-13.
According to my research,
In the laboratory.
because the actual book that this is based on has some very R-rated violence in it that they toned down.
PG.
That they toned down. Anyway, neither here nor there. This is where Snape finally does become Defense of the Dark Arts teacher. He's been wanting it for all this time, and if you're a regular reader of Harry Potter books, you know that it's a cursed position. So something's going to happen with Snape. We don't know what. And it builds this really good backstory for not only Snape and how he grew up and everything. Then we alluded to this earlier with James Potter. Was really mean to him and everything. He was in love with Lily Potter, but they just end up being good friends. But the whole thing is set up to the point where we've had our doubts about Snape, but he keeps coming through for Harry. But now finally, it seems like he really is working with Voldemort. He really is. He really is as bad as we think he is. He just needed to. He's been putting on a show for everybody that he might be good.
right?
Don't we even see him in a meeting with all the evil people?
Yeah.
Like,
There's I don't know if somebody does Harry witness it?
I think he has a vision.
Oh,
of
when he's doing the brain
The
trade
snake thing.
Yeah.
He's in Nagini or whatever.
I think so.
I think that's how it goes. I think that's how it works. I haven't seen Half-Blood Prince in forever, but everything leading up to that is this idea that maybe he's with Voldemort this whole time, and like it leads to him pushing Dumbledore off that structure.
Does he zap him or does he push him?
I think he zaps him.
he kills him. He does the Kavadra.
Yeah.
Because Draco is being groomed to do that, right?
And he can't pull. He doesn't do it.
And this sets up, this is very nice foresight because Draco, it's a very good performance with Tom Felton because you can see him get all emaciated and like sickly looking because this is actually wearing on him.
Mm-hmm.
He's being asked to kill one of the greatest wizards ever.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually, he gets to where he can't do it. But before he can't do it, he does disarm Dumbledore. And if you disarm somebody, that wand is yours.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so that plays a part later on. But Snape does pull the trigger, so to speak. And that's a very emotional moment. I mean, I didn't really... I had an emotional reaction to the books.
Mm-hmm.
Because, when you spend that much time with a character reading that many books, you're going to get emotionally attached. But yeah, man, when you see the Dumbledore, he dead, and you see the reaction to everybody, McGonagall and the rest of the staff, and, this is a cataclysmic event. And it's not even the end of the series. You're like, oh, shit.
Is this... I'm sorry. Keep going.
Well, I mean, then before that, you've got that wonderful scene with Michael Gambon where he's like, he takes Harry out to get the first Horcrux. This is the first introduction of the Horcruxes. And he has to drink this liquid to get to the bottom of this thing to get this Horcrux. And he's like, no matter what I say or how much I beg you, do not let me finish this. Or do not let me finish this. And he starts begging.
Yeah.
And pleading. He's like, no, take this. And Harry's like, you gotta drink it, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's becoming more like crazy and sees seeing things basically.
Well, no, those are real. Like there's some shit going on. Like there's some, is he seeing stuff in addition to all that?
I think he's also seeing things, right? There's some real things going on.
Yeah.
Yes. But I think there's some things that are messing with his mind also during all
and his
that.
hands all getting all fucked up.
The Horcrux thing I think is brilliant. It's got some annoying things about it, but the idea of breaking your own soul to be immortal and everything, as long as these things are around, you'll always live. and is seen as the sort of the ultimate evil, basically, right? The that you would do this to yourself to just stay alive because you just want to do a bunch of fucked up things and everything. And he puts all these things in different places and everything. Now, the thing that I guess is kind of bullshit about it is like putting it in all these little places where people still can find them, even if it's a lot of fucked up shit that they have to go through. We go all the way back to the first movie, and it's like, why the 3-headed dog? Why
not send it into space? You're magic. You can
Right?
send that shit up into space.
Or just don't talk about it. Don't write it about it in your diary.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't do any of this shit that lets people know. So if they want to be Sherlock Holmes about this shit, they can still find it. Yes, it would be it's fucked up what they have to go through to get to it, but come on. But I love the idea of that because it does expand where they go other than Hogwarts and everything. So it is fun. Also that I was mentioned, alluded to the R-rated violence that's in the book. The spell that Harry finds in the Half-Blood Prince's old textbook.
Oh yeah.
It says for enemies on it. And Harry is naive and doesn't think it's just going to be a practical joke of some sort or whatever. And he does it on Draco. And in the book, blood squirts out of him.
Yeah.
And they have to, and McGonagall and everybody has to come around and like save this dude because he's going to die like within seconds or whatever. And of course, in the movie, they still does it, but it's PG, they don't go too far with it.
This is okay.
I like it. Yeah,
as a movie, as a story, I really like it. But as a movie,
I mean, at this point, I was beginning to lose interest. I'll be honest, and I like it. Okay,
yeah,
I don't have major gripes about it.
It's all right.
I got plenty of
the
gripes
Half-Blood
about the next
Prince.
one, next two, but not this one.
I think I like Half-Blood Prince better than you guys. Then
I don't. Yeah, probably so. I mean, I didn't dislike it, but
I think story-wise, it's
strong.
It's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Yes, as Jeremy was talking about, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1 is a piece of shit.
Piece of shit garbage.
Really?
Half movie. Fuck me.
Yes, really. It is a setup.
Well, that's it.
Deathly Hallows Part 1 is the beginning of a story, and that's it. It's all it is. It's a bunch of hormonally challenged teenagers in the woods, where Ron has visions of Hermione and Harry fucking.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
he sees Harry's dick.
But he sees Harry's dick.
He does. That's talk about R rating. But they're all wearing like the one ring of Sauron, right? Like they're passing around the locket.
Yeah.
And they're getting progressively, like everybody gets all angry and irritable.
Yeah.
And then they hand it off to the other
it's a
one.
metaphor for hormones.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is. Those hormones are raging. And I think in the book, at some point, don't Harry and Hermione kiss and like kind of test the waters a little bit?
I think you're right, and they realize that it's nothing. I don't feel nothing. I think that's what happens, but it also sets up this, I think, nonsense romance between Ron and Hermione. Like all the movies you've watched, what is it about their relationship that makes you think they got together and had kids later?
See, here's what I think. The only time anything is ever hinted at, from my knowledge, is in Goblet of Fire, when he acts all pissy that she's gone to the dance with Ivan or whatever the fuck. Is it Ivan? It's not Ivan. Victor, Ivan, same thing.
Yeah.
But I think what happened was J.K. realized people are going to want Harry and Hermione to end up together, so I'm going to throw them a curveball. And in trying to give us the unexpected, she gave us the unwanted.
I think
I don't need Harry ending up with Ginny either.
No, that to me is a little bit more forced.
I would rather see a broadcast news ending where Ron and Hermione and Harry are all friends and they got with other people.
Yeah,
I could dig that because Harry was into Cho Chang for a while.
Yeah, and I would have been too.
Yeah,
you can't blame
Yeah,
her. She
banging-
kissed him.
Yeah.
she did.
They did the lippy lich.
But yes, they did. But there are people out there who will argue with you that, like, Ron and Hermione forever, man, they were definitely a romantic couple. And I'm like, they didn't go on one date during the entire book. Like, there wasn't any, they didn't have anything.
She's so far out of his league. Come on.
Yeah, they didn't have anything in
true.
common. They always fought. And okay, people who love each other fight all the time. Give me a fucking break.
Yeah.
Barrett, you seem to think that they should be together.
I mean, it doesn't really matter.
Maybe he's just surprised at how anti this
No, I
coupling
mean,
we are.
there's signs in the movies. There's the little things like in Prisoner of Azkaban. When she gets scared, she reaches for Ron's hand.
Oh, I remember that.
In the Goblet of Fire, I think it's Goblet of Fire where she's actually crying because no, that's in the next one, Order of the Phoenix, because that's Slughorn, Jim Broadbent, where she starts crying in the hallway because Ron has that love spell with the other girl.
Yeah.
That's all in love with them and
Yeah,
everything.
no, okay, fine. But the problem is, I want to see one scene where they're interacting with each other, and it looks like what loving people who are attracted to each other do.
Huh?
And they didn't do that once in the entire thing.
No, they just did. I agree. They threw some hints in there, but not enough to earn this like cap off at the train at the end of this.
Mm-hmm.
No,
final movie.
you don't expect them to end up married and shitting out some
And
kids.
God help me, when he calls that kid Albus Severus Potter, that is every bit as bad as the last season of Game of Thrones. That is terrible
I
writing.
totally agree with you. I totally agree with Albus Severus Potter.
That's terrible. That's so awful. It's awful.
Yeah.
He named his next kid Jed because he was all out of mentors.
Jed. Yeah, exactly.
All right, so Deathly Hallows 1, half a movie, all
Half a
set up.
movie.
Hormones in the woods. The one thrilling thing I remember is that chase through the woods where they quietly zap with the bad guys chasing, and we use that in a lot of outtakes whenever there's a chase in the woods, and that's a thrilling scene.
Mm-hmm.
But the next movie is no setup and all climax.
It is.
Yep.
Which is why this would have been better off as a 4-hour movie.
Yep. And I think is it this one? It's this one where we find out that Snape and Dumbledore had an agreement that he had to put on the face that he is still with Voldemort and everything. For everybody, even if it hurts, he's got to do it. So all that stuff we saw was staged, basically, even though there are real consequences to it. And so that Snape was basically a spy for Dumbledore.
Mm-hmm.
So I love the conclusion of that. It took me forever. I read the book obviously before the movie had come out. The what happens with Harry going to that netherworld and there's a baby, and then Dumbledore shows up.
Oh, the great train station in the sky.
right.
The great
That's
train
right.
station in the sky, and I was just like, what the fuck? And the baby is Voldemort, and it has to do with the Horcrux, which that Voldemort put on Harry's head when he put the scar on and everything.
Don't you put that Horcrux on me, Rick.
Yeah, Ricky Bobby.
I mean, didn't she kind of steal this ending from The Matrix?
That and what else? Oh yeah, The Matrix. Yeah, I was about to. I thought the ending of the first Deathly Hallows sort of ripped off the end scene of Matrix Reloaded.
Yeah.
Because there's that. It's do 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 do.
Yeah, I just mean that the good guy ultimately, in order to beat the bad guy, has to sacrifice himself to the bad guy.
Yes.
That feels. I mean, I think that probably goes way back before The Matrix. Jesus, for instance. But it's a long-standing literature tradition.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a couple years,
But it's not
probably 2004.
It's not exciting for me. Ultimately, I get it. I really do. I'm not saying I would have written it different, but it's kind of a letdown for me. That this is how it ends. Like you have to You go hard enough right, you'll find yourself going left.
That's right.
And then later on, the Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame sort of took a lot of this too.
Yep.
This whole, like, you're in another world, you got to make a choice. Do you want to stay here and I don't know, live the afterlife, or do you want to make a sacrifice to come back and help out the good guys? So yeah, that's what Harry does. He goes back and he fights Voldemort, and we have that scene with the wands that can't beat each other basically has now, I don't know if I had seen anything like that before this movie. I mean, maybe some Star Wars shit, but like that scene has been copied a million times.
Oh,
since.
the two power streams that are yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think I had seen it before Harry Potter. Maybe I did. I'm not sure, but it seems like that's the one that unlocked the key for everybody to show these people are evenly matched.
That's
Look
right.
at this shit. You
Red
know?
versus green.
yeah, exactly.
I do hate. No, I like a few things about that battle because it goes in 2 stages, and you have a bunch of people dead. Like I think Tonks dies, Remus dies,
One of the Weasleys,
one of the twins. Yeah, and
Well, there's another one.
yeah, there's another one.
That's no big loss.
Looks exactly
We
like
took
him.
out one.
yeah, they have,
And
they
then
have
they
50
have,
kids.
Yeah, then they have the interlude, and then Ray Fiennes is like, Harry Potter is dead. He does the over the loudspeaker in the from the principal's office.
Yep.
You throw down your swords, whatever the fuck he says. And then when he takes, this is the biggest bullshit, when he's carrying Harry's body back and Harry's just playing dead, and all of a sudden he wakes up and he's like, boom, motherfucker. But I do like, and that part pisses me off, but I do like the Neville scene where he's just like, you know what? Fuck off, bitch. And he pulls out the sword of Gryffindor, and that's what he says, fuck off, bitch.
Yeah, I remember
And
that
he
part.
Fucks with
That's
him.
why this one was the only rated R Harry Potter.
Yeah, that's right. The only R-rated.
But also, and I think we send this, I may have been on this one actually, where it kind of devolves into punching and kicking.
Kind of
stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they're both wizards. They, like Voldemort literally kicks Harry when he's on the steps. I'm like,
And there are this is another one where at the end of it, you're like, you have all these protection spells, you have all these different. How is a war fought this way in Magic World? Like it seems like it would be complete. I think you have to do something that makes sense to you as a human to watch these type of things. But when you're talking about magicking people, like there's just, to me, it's like, how do you even get hit by something sometimes? Like there should be all the defensive spells are on you, all the different
shields up.
Yeah. And the only way they can break it, of course, then you get into the, well, how would they even have a battle then if everybody was defensed? But yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Why shoot little magic bullets at each other?
Why don't you have a emergency port key every 3 feet along the halls?
Just be like,
there's Voldemort. Now I'm on the beach.
Right.
emergency port. You imagine all the kids just like, hey, look at the horse.
Well, I'm wondering why some asshole who gets detention doesn't just go Avada Kedavra to Dumbledore and kill the headmaster.
Right.
Like, I've seen how teenagers behave in school. They don't give a shit. They don't respect the principal.
Right.
Like, that guy should have been killed way before Snape got to him.
Yeah.
I'm serious. Why would you not? Why would you not be doing polyjuice potions and taking the place of other people?
That's true.
There'd be so much fucking hijinks at that school. There would have to be a literal no magic on campus rule.
Yeah. Which, it wouldn't be any fun, but at the same time.
By the way, I wrote a book about superhero kids. People think it's a little derivative of Harry Potter, but I made it so they couldn't use their powers in school because of this very thing.
Yeah,
Because I thought, if you put a bunch of teenagers in school with superpowers, they're going to fuck each other up all day. They are not going to just learn fractions.
Yeah. Are they learning fractions in this school? I think they are, right? They're fun. They're learning.
Better. They're not going to another school.
No, they're
Got to
not.
teach them all they need to know about this magic stuff and about
That was
regular.
one thing that occurred to me watching the first one again too, was just the, like, what is the end game if there's no Voldemort? Like what would life be like without Voldemort, right? Like, it's a happy world, right? What are you going to school for? What are you hoping to achieve? What do the magic people do that makes the world better.
Not that they hide from it.
They hide from it,
Yeah.
and they don't do anything within their own world to make it any better.
I agree.
By the end of it, Harry Potter's like a, I don't know, fucking mailman or something. I don't know what he is. He's
Yeah.
like,
He works for the Ministry,
He works
right?
for the Ministry of Magic, but he's like a, it's some fucking like
He's an horror.
He's a desk job or something.
He's a filing clerk.
Yeah. And you wonder what is
Ministry of Magic, Harry Potter.
yeah. What is it that they do? What is the thing that makes the world a better place?
Yeah, I don't know.
They go to school for this shit, and then they want to work at the Ministry of Magic, where they're
That's
sitting
right.
behind a phone, answering phones like you're saying.
Yeah.
Do we even want to get into Fantastic Beasts?
No.
Have you even seen them?
No.
Yeah, they're bad.
They're shitty, man. And they talk about Deus Ex Machina all over the place.
Yeah.
This is run amok in these movies. But we don't have to talk about them.
No, the only good part of those are Balls of Fury and Queenie.
Yeah, exactly. And it's
Balls of Fury and Queen.
Balls of Fury is what's his name?
Dan
Dan Fogelberg.
Fogelberg, yeah.
Oh, I thought I must have said Judah Friedlander. It's not that far off.
Not that far off. Yeah.
And Queenie was the lead singer of a band of some.
Yeah, she is.
Dan Fogler.
Dan Fogler.
Yeah, is the name of that guy. But yes, he was in Balls of Fury.
That's the only other thing that I'm sure he's done a bunch of stuff, but
I couldn't remember anything that
He's
hadn't
a writer, isn't he?
I think he is.
I get him and Danny McBride confused.
Writer. He's only written 3 things.
No, I get him and Judah Friedlander confused.
I know.
He's
I know.
only written 3 things, and he's got 61 credits.
Oh,
he's been in The Walking Dead, apparently.
No, but
Good for him.
I totally agree. To wrap up the Harry Potter thing, I think that epilogue is the worst part of the series.
I agree.
The age up makeup, the fact that he and Jenny, I mean,
The fact
look,
that they felt
we're
it was
not,
necessary.
We're not all Aaron Dicer. We don't all end up with our high school sweetheart,
A
right?
few of us do.
And the fact that both of them did, and they're all together, like kind of incestuously, it's all weird.
They live in 4 people in a house and they swing.
They swing.
Yeah,
they're in the
Ron
bed like
and his own sister.
They're like the grandparents in Willy Wonka.
Yeah, they never get out of bed
They never get out of bed. They just roll over and fuck.
except to take their
That's
kids to
right.
the Magic Train for Hogwarts Day.
They move the board out of the way that separates them on the bed, and then they fuck.
But yeah, then they've got the Albus Severus part. I mean, that whole thing is just like, really?
I mean, honestly, if she had not written this last scene, what we got for the last scene could have been an SNL parody of what she might have done.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point. Bad makeup, silly names.
Silly
The
names.
fact that everybody got
I
fucking
can
together.
fucking see Pete Davidson going, Albus Severus Potter.
And Jenny looks the exact same, except she's got like a business suit on.
Yeah.
Like a
Can't
sensible
age up
skirt.
somebody who's still 14. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
exaggerating, but she's still super young.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're obviously not experts of the experts of these movies, but what do you guys think? Just drop a line at some point and tell us your Harry Potter stories. Anyway, do we have time for anything else right now?
Yeah, man.
Okay, so do we want to do recommends and warns, or do we want to questions?
Let's do a couple questions. That'll go quick.
Questions.
I'm listening.
Many actors
Many.
are only seen as the actor when watching their movies.
Uh-huh.
What is one film where you see the character rather than the actor playing them? For this person, it's Morgan Freeman in Seven. That's the only role I feel that he disappears into where acting is wholly unique for him. Now, that's a great pick. I would say before that, you would see a lot more Morgan Freeman disappearing. And, of course, you got Red. That's not really Morgan Freeman,
Yeah.
right? But, no, that's a good pick, I think.
I'm going to go with Willem Dafoe as Max Schreck in Shadow of the Vampire.
Very nice.
Wow.
Who the fuck else is going to play that?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Willem Dafoe is obviously great in everything that he's in, but he's got this kind of way about him in every movie that he's in. So every time he shows up, it's like, yeah, there's fucking Willem Dafoe. In Shadow of the Vampire, he is playing a completely different, unique character than he ever has, and I don't know who else would play it, but he's completely different in that than he is in anything else.
Even in The Lighthouse, which is a very immersive role, you can see Willem Dafoe in there.
Kinda, yeah.
You could, I mean, why'd you spill your beans, boy?
Yeah.
You know, like that's
Like,
a Willem Dafoe type.
There's
thing.
a thing like Willem Dafoe obviously can be 10 different kinds of that person that he is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
He's like he's got range within the Willem Dafoe bar.
Yep. Yeah,
You know,
which is very nice. It's big, but it's still Billy D.
yeah, it is.
I'm going to go off script and go with Bobby De Niro in Cape Fear, which I just recently
very nice.
rewatched. I hadn't seen this in probably 15 years, and it's really not like any other De Niro role. He's played plenty of villains, but I don't know that he's played too many absolutely unhinged psychopaths. Like, you could say what you want about Taxi Driver, that guy's not exactly hinged, but he's not speaking with this southern drawl, with this uneducated linguistic manner. Doesn't have the wild greasy hair and the weird boat-faring outfits. And it's just, you watch this movie and I don't see Robert De Niro. I see the devil. I see somebody that scares the absolute bejesus out of me because he's smart, but more than smart, he's 100% dedicated to this.
He is going to fuck Nick Nolte.
It does not matter. Like, that boat is good. He's going to die on that boat, and he does not care because first he's going to kill him. And I was struck watching it this time how little, like, even in Heat, that's De Niro and Pacino sitting at the table
sure.
talking,
Yeah.
and that's a great movie. Even in Goodfellas, that's De Niro being mob guy De Niro. But here, it's just there's nothing else in his resume that's like this at all, and he's just absolutely scary. And that's
Counselor.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Counselor,
Yeah.
are you there? Could you be there?
God, he's so perfectly manipulative in this, and I guess that just comes from that 20 years in prison or whatever it was.
It's 10, I think. He's had all this time to plan.
Yeah.
Not just specific, scheme plans, but emotional plans, and
just figure out a way to fuck Nick Nolte up.
Well, and he does it perfect, man. He gets it to where Nick Nolte gets a restraining order on him, instead of the other way around,
right? Yeah,
because he steals the lawyer out from under him. God,
because
he
beats the shit out of him, and then what does he show up with all those bandages and like a neck brace?
Yeah.
This also spawns one of the best Simpsons episodes.
Oh, the Sideshow Bob thing?
Yeah, it's Cape Fear with an E on the end of it.
And he sings HMS Pinafore.
Yeah.
What never? No, never. What never? Well,
together?
Hardly ever.
But yeah, that's the one with the rakes and the and the
Die Bart Die.
Die Bart
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 Die. In German.
Yeah. It goes to the crowd and it's like nothing bad has ever come from German people.
Oh, I took a bunch of them, so I'll kind of run through. Bill Murray has a Bill Murray thing. It doesn't matter if he's in a Jim Jarmusch thing or Sofia Coppola. But in Rushmore, I think he completely subverted, especially leading up to that. He hadn't done much drama. He had done some. But that is a very different Bill Murray role. I think he disappears into that. Emma Stone in Birdman. Emma Stone Emma Stone's a brilliant actor, but there's a lot of Emma Stone-isms happening. In Birdman, the only time she really kind of does an Emma Stone type of thing is when Michael Keaton catches her smoking, and he's like, "What is that?" And she's like, "Oh, it's pot."
Yeah.
She just looks at him like, "Oh, I'm caught." Whatever. She is terrific in that movie. It's still an underrated movie, I think, even though it won fucking Best Picture. I don't think people talk about that movie enough. Woody Harrelson in Natural Born Killers.
Yep.
Woody's going to be Woody. Woody's going to Woody.
Fucking A, man. This is such a good one.
Yeah, you will forget that Woody is Woody, even with his stuff down the road and War for the Planet of the Apes and Zombieland and stuff like that, where he's playing an anti-hero or a villain. Nothing touches Natural Born Killers, especially up until then. Huh?
We both picked Juliette Lewis movies.
That's right. Up until then, it's only pretty much been Woody at this point.
Yeah,
White Man Can Jump was
he was in that. He was also in Indecent Proposal and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But none of those two roles weren't like going to shed his Woody Cheers image or anything. I remember, I mean, even though I had seen those two, Indecent Proposal and White Men Can't Jump and everything, the trailer for Natural Born Killers, where he's like, "You ain't seen nothing yet," and he's bald and all this other stuff. I was like, "Holy fuck!" Woody Harrelson.
Woody fucking Harrelson.
Woody Harrelson's taking a step.
Yeah.
Here, this is a risk.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's completely different. He's fucking phenomenal in
He's
that
so
movie.
good. He's so good. That movie. I still don't know what I think of that movie.
Nobody does.
Nobody does.
Nobody does. It's a mystery.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those movies where there's so much great and so much that is equally bad at the same time.
Yeah.
That you can't really just go say, "I love that movie."
I know.
Or "I hate that movie," because then you have to, if you say you hate it, you ignore all the good stuff.
Yeah.
If you say you love it, you're ignoring all the bad stuff.
Yeah. I think it's watchable, though. The last one I'll say is Leo DiCaprio in The Revenant. Even in Wolf of Wall Street, even in Shutter Island, the stuff that he's excellent in, still very Leo DiCaprio. But The Revenant, he sheds all of that. And God bless him, got the Oscar for it.
Well, and the only problem is that he was still overshadowed in that movie by Tom Hardy.
Yeah.
Disappearing even further into...
Tom Hardy disappears into everything. I was watching Mad Max Fury Road last night.
Oh.
It's a bad idea right around 9:30. And
Yeah,
it just started. And I was like, I can't turn this off. And my wife was watching it. She had never seen it. She was like, what the She didn't say what the fuck, but what is this? Why does he have all that stuff on his face? And I was like, well,
I can just imagine her going in and saying, "What the hell is this crap?"
Also, okay, so she came in right at the first breath that you take, right after the fight with Charlize and him, and try to explain that plot in like 30 seconds. Up until then,
they stole the brides. And the
there's
milk
this
truck.
guy named Immortan Joe who's like has an illicit brooding. I don't know what you call it. What is it?
breeding couple, right?
Well,
Or
it's
harem.
A harem. He's
Yeah,
got a yucky harem basically.
Yes.
And he's breeding them, and Charlize Theron is taking them to safety, and then they go chase after them, and
then they come back.
and then they come back. Mad Max is thrown into the middle of it, and that's why the movie is called Mad Max.
But again, that's another thing that Tom Hardy just like. You don't even know it's Tom Hardy until halfway through.
And there's a guy who plays guitar that shoots fire.
I did say that because that's when the motorcade was coming up, and she was like, "So can you explain?" She was like, "That looks weird," and I was like, "Wait till you get to the guitarist." What actor or actress who are known for being great dramatic actors or taking on serious roles do you enjoy seeing in movies outside of their norm? For this person, speaking of which, it's Tom Hardy and Chris Pine in This Means War.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know how that happened. It is such an absurd movie, I agree, but I love the dynamic between the two of them, that type of buddy cop scenario. What do you guys think?
I'm going to go with a guy who's going to have a documentary out in the next couple of weeks that I am very interested in. Val Kilmer.
Ooh.
Oh,
There's a Val Kilmer
I
documentary.
heard about this.
I saw the
it's
trailer.
at Cannes, right?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I saw the trailer for it, and he, much like Punky Brewster, shot a bunch of footage back in the day.
Did he really?
Of things.
There's footage of Frankenheimer yelling at him on the Island of Dr. Moreau set. Because,
Oh, really?
Ooh!
Because Val Kilmer wanted to play something a certain way, and Frankenheimer disagreed. There's footage in this documentary of them having a confrontation on that set.
No, I can't wait to see
That
it, man.
alone is worth watching this movie.
Yeah, I think it's going to be on Amazon like in 2 weeks.
Oh,
or a
yeah,
week
I'm
or so.
all over this.
Anyway, Val Kilmer started his career. It's so weird looking at his career. he started his career with Top Secret and Real Genius, movies like that. He's obviously not afraid to be in some goofy ass movies.
Yep.
Now maybe this was just because he was a struggling actor and this is what he could get and whatever. Those two movies are fucking classics, though.
They are.
And then he does Top Gun, and suddenly, all of a sudden, he's doing like everything is fucking serious.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
I mean, everything is like, what was the movie?
Didn't he do the blind lady with Mira
Yeah.
Sorvino?
At First Sight. Yeah.
Even his Bruce Wayne is the most serious Bruce Wayne we ever
Doc
had.
Holliday. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, he's in The Doors. He's
Yeah.
in, what's that? It's something ending in Heart that he did that was like early 90s, mid 90s or whatever.
Yep.
Thunderheart? Was that
Yeah,
what it is?
yeah. Actually, that's serious as fuck. That's actually a decent movie, but you're right. It's serious
But
as
yeah,
fuck.
you're not talking about quality.
Right,
We're just
right.
talking about like he's in these real serious things, and I don't think he ever did comedies ever.
He did do MacGruber.
He did, but that
No,
was
this is
way later.
This is way later.
That was way later.
And it's we'll get to
He's
the
cunt.
we'll get to the crux of the answer to this question, because he does a bunch of serious stuff, and then he does Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, where he's as funny as he's ever been in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
I love the line. I mean, of course, it's Shane Black. Shane Black is just has that dialogue shit down, man. But that whole thing where it's like, we look up in the dictionary, you look up stupid, what do you get? And then Downey's like, you see a picture of me? He's like, no, you see the definition of stupid, which is what you are. And just, I mean, he's so funny in that. And yes, he's in MacGruber later on. He's more willing to tackle these kind of smaller things at this point in his career when he does those type of things. He has throat cancer now, and that you see it in the trailer where he's talking through a little what do you call it?
Tracheotomy?
Yeah, one of those things. And it's sad to see. He's like, I've had throat cancer. I'm still going through it right now. But he is, I mean, a lot of the images in there are just these old, like 1980s images of Kevin Bacon and
Nice.
and Sean Penn and people like
awesome.
that. I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, that's the he's known mainly for drama, even though he started off in comedies. But Kiss Kiss Bang Bang was such a great sort of like alternate to all of that.
Top Secret is the shit. Real Genius is fun, but Top Secret is where he really shows off like range. He's not even, because we talk about like the airplane movies and Naked Gun where everybody's deadpanning it the whole way through. He's deadpanning it, but he's also making jokes in that. He's dancing.
Yeah.
The dance scene is really good.
He seems to really get the feel for that material, which is so fucking weird. He seemed so self-important in the mid-90s.
He does.
So how the fuck did he go from knowing... I don't know how you have that place in you that you're like, I know how this, this comedy should work, to I won't be on this movie set unless, all this, unless my demands are met or whatever.
I also picked a Shane Black movie, The Nice Guys.
Yeah.
Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe are both much more known for serious roles than for comedy. I think they both have at least one other comedy on their resume. I know Gosling did Crazy Stupid Love.
And Big Short is...
Yeah, and
Big
he
Short.
is the comic piece of that movie. But you're right, Ryan Gosling, mainly known for dramas.
Yeah, and they're both as funny as anyone has ever been in anything in The Nice Guys. They both have great timing and great chemistry, which is, I think I've said this before, but if you'd have told me this, like, we're going to put Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling in a buddy cop movie and it's going to be funny as shit, I'd be like, all right, good luck with that. But it works perfectly. And maybe the casting director knew something that I didn't, but I don't think of Russell Crowe as a funny guy. I think of him as a serious actor who's probably not very much fun outside of acting. Like, that's what I think.
Yeah.
But he's a very, very funny man.
He is.
It's like when Liam Neeson did that sketch with Ricky Gervais.
Oh
and
my
you're
God,
like,
so
oh my
good.
God, Liam Neeson is hilarious.
Have you ever seen that, Barrett?
I don't think I have.
Oh my God, it wouldn't take you long to watch this. This is you can get this clip on YouTube. Liam Neeson and Ricky Gervais. It's not extras. It's that other one that he did. that was in between a whole bunch.
Life is short.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Warwick Davis was on.
Yeah, or some sort of pun on short.
Let me look it up real quick. Yeah, just find the Liam Neeson Ricky Gervais thing.
Oh, it's so funny.
Where Liam Neeson's like comes in and he's like, I want to do some comedies, and Ricky Gervais was like, you're kind of a serious guy. Are you sure you want to do this? And then he's like, I've written something. I want to try it out or whatever. And oh my god, it's so fucking good, man. It's so good.
I don't know if it's easier for comedians to go to drama or drama people to go to comedy. It feels like it's easier the first way. The comedy people can go to drama much easier. But yeah,
serious Oscar winner actors will tell you it's harder to do comedy than it is to do drama.
Yeah, although it's funny, the prevailing wisdom about Airplane and Naked Gun was that they would cast people who were known for dramas to be in these movies, and there was a thought that, well, because they have such acting chops, they're able to do the comedy better. But who knows? I think it all depends on if you get the material, which is a question I asked the guy Josh Rubin, I believe, who did Werewolves Within. Mm-hmm. This movie is just got a certain way about it, and I was like, do all the actors come in knowing what kind of movie this is, and they just get into this comic character, or do you have to go and round them up and say, this is how we're going to do this or whatever? Yeah, here it is. Life's Too Short.
Life's Too Short.
Yeah, look that up. That YouTube clip of Liam Neeson, Ricky Gervais, and Life's Too Short, and
laugh your ass off.
You're going to laugh your fucking ass off because it's so dark and so hilarious.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with the female equivalent of a Val Kilmer type of thing, without the tragic end. Rachel McAdams started off with Mean Girls, super funny and everything, and then Notebook, and then Serious Stuff, and then Spotlight. And I don't mean quality again. Obviously, quality goes up.
Red Eye.
Red Eye. Ain't nothing funny about Red Eye except for a dude putting the scarf on and her handing the library book upside down. Whatever the fuck she did. Fucking Red Eye.
Right.
Fucking fuck. But then she comes back with fucking Game Night, arguably the funniest movie of her career. And she is hilarious in it. Now, in Mean Girls, she's fantastic in it. But Game Night, all of a sudden, we were reminded. Now, she did Wedding Crashers in there, but she wasn't funny in Wedding Crashers. No, I think that really comes back. And my actual answer is Tom Cruise. And I have this weird feeling about Tom Cruise. He's hilarious, obviously, in Tropic Thunder as Les Grossman. I think he's hilarious in Night and Day, that James Mangold, Cameron Diaz thing. It's a better movie than I gave it credit for. He's funny. But Les Grossman is a whole different animal. Like, you stand back and literally fuck your own face. And I have this feeling that he's not funny. He's not funny. But he just poured himself into that role so much. He was like, if I'm going to be a comic role, I'm going to fucking... He probably hired like every writer that he knew to write those for him, makeup artists to make like he probably assembled this helicopter training team around him to make him funny for that role. And he's probably not all that funny.
Ben Stiller may have just told him to be dead serious in this whole thing. You be a producer that you know in the past that has yelled at you. And
he may be Scott Rudin.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be.
It kind of looks like him.
Which one of you is the key grip? I want you to walk over there and punch that director in the face as hard as you can. And the guy walks over to the director and then just kind of shrugs like, he told me to.
Yeah. Fucking dicks him. He's funny as hell in that role, though. Yeah, God damn.
And has that great moment at the end where he's dancing during the credits.
Yeah.
Ludicrous song.
And I love the way he and Bill Hader play off of each other. That's so perfect. Bill Hader's just like, yeah, that's right. What he said, it's fine.
It's the goodie room.
That's going to do it for this podcast. This here podcast.
This here.
Keep going to SinCast presented by Cinemasins on Facebook. We're also on Cinemasins Twitter, Music Video Sins Twitter, Discord, and SoundCloud.
SoundCloud.
That's right. So give us your comments and your menu observations. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Menu. Do you like?
Do you like the presentation of the menu?
Do you like my erection selection?
Do you like? Yes, exactly. Here are Blockbuster's employees' choices. But that's going to do it for this week. It's Chris Atkinson, Jeremy Scott, and Barrett Shear. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening. Comment on our episodes on our SoundCloud page. Check us out on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and Reddit. And be sure to visit Cinemasins.com.
We walked through
Fucking-
Chinatown to get there, but no, we knew where we were
You
going.
knew where you... Okay, all right.
We had already booked the dinner. We did not know it was a menu-free $900 experience.
Well, there's a clip that was on... apparently Ed Sheeran just did Hot Ones.
Of course he did.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. But he really got, like, blown away by, like, not even the hottest one. Just, like, 3 from the hottest. And... he went to, the host was saying, like, you went to Jiro's place, the Jiro Dreams of Sushi Tokyo place, and the Omakashi place where they serve you. And Ed Sheeran's dying. He's like, and the dude keeps asking regardless. And he's like, "Rah!" And he's like, what was this, like, the place of your dreams? Is this the place that everybody says? And I guess it was because maybe he would have said it anyway, but because he was dying and he was just being honest, he was like, no, it's not all that great. He's like, there's a place in London called whatever, and that's better.
I went to Buffalo Wild Wings, and when I hadn't had the Blazin' in forever.
Is that the hottest one?
That's their hottest one.
Mm-hmm.
I guess they see. I don't know. Are there watered down versions of Carolina Reaper and all this other stuff?
Yeah.
Because there's no way they're selling these peppers to a mainstream restaurant or whatever.
Mm-mm.
So yeah, I mean the Blazin' was hot. And it would kill a lot of people. And it was a little rough on me, but I was sitting there going, there's no fucking way this is what people are talking about when they're eating the Carolina Reaper, because that looks like it has put them in a serious state when they're eating it. And I kind of knew that before I ordered it. I knew they weren't going to serve me something that would, be like that. But the thing is the hottest wings are hardly ever the best wings.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree.
They don't have taste; they have just heat. So, like the highest heat on Buffalo Wild Wings that tastes good is mango habanero. Those are the best ones.
I agree.
They have a lot of heat to them, but they have a flavor. So it's like, all right, I can deal with this. But man, the Blazin' is just like putting fire in your mouth.
I like how every few years there's a new hottest pepper. Like for a long time it was the ghost pepper. Mm-hmm. And then out of nowhere comes the Carolina Reaper that is now the hottest pepper. Mm-hmm. And in 3 years it's going to be the Duluth monster.
Yeah, the Duluth monster.
The old Duluth monster.
Absolutely. Well, there's some people who are
legendary.
There are some people who are sort of engineering a lot of these.
Yeah.
I think this is what I was going to say. There's those chips. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's like Paqui or Paqui or whatever, Paqui.
Yeah.
They are definitely doing something with their peppers that I bought something. It was a ghost pepper thing. I'm sure it's still a little bit watered down because, again, every time I've seen somebody take on ghost pepper, Carolina Reaper, or anything like that, they're in serious pain. But I bought these. I was at a gas station and bought these. And the guy behind the counter was like, "Are you sure?"
Oh, it's that kind of party. Huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
I was like, I'm going to try them.
This guy's seen some shit.
I want to try them. And I ate them. And they made me tear up pretty good.
Wow.
But it still wasn't to the, maybe it was because he gave me the warning ahead of time, but they just didn't. I mean, they were hot. Don't get me wrong. I'm not poo-pooing that. They are very fucking hot, but it wasn't to the point that I thought it might be.
Meanwhile, I had 2 bites of Bolton's mildest chicken, and I was a wreck for a day.
Yeah.
Nashville hot is a whole different animal, though, man.
Well,
that's
yeah, I don't. The spicy foods and me, we did not get along.
this spice. This is not my kind of spice.
It's not my kind of spice.
There is a place. The only place where I've encountered, I think, real ghost peppers is Jake Melnick's in Chicago, on Chicago Ave. No, it's on Superior. That place that I wanted to take you when we were up there, and they have one of those challenges, and it's I think it's the only one of its. It's not a chain or anything, and that's no joke.
Yeah,
I didn't ever take the challenge. I had the one down, and the one down I thought was glorious. It was the hottest thing I've ever eaten, but it was so good. Mm-hmm. It was so flavorful. Mm-hmm. But a buddy of mine was doing it. We did it at lunch one day. We're like the whole lab staff decided, all right, we're gonna take off lunch and go watch John do this challenge, bald guy, and he made it through. I took one from him. I was like, I'll lighten your load, and it was good. It was blow your head off. I don't think I could do 6 of them, but I did the
So
one.
This guy was supposed to eat 6 without drinking anything or anything.
Yeah. And man, that dude's head was just fucking. It was a waterfall coming off of.
Yeah. See, that's something that I'm not interested in.
And then I probably told you this, but there was a Korean guy that worked with us. It was an intern, and he said he was going to do it too. And Korean stuff can be very, very hot too. Mm-hmm. And I was like, all right, man, go ahead, Suno. And he took one. He took down one, and then he said, I gotta go. And he fucking left. He left. Didn't come in the next day.
Oh,
Swear to
no.
God. Didn't come in the next day. Didn't call. Didn't do anything. We thought he had died.
Oh, no.
Oh, my God.
Poor bastard.
And we got stuck with the check for this guy.
Oh, of course. Yes. So I like to buy the 8-piece fried chicken at Kroger.
Mm-hmm.
It's really good chicken.
Yeah, it is.
And
Kroger this is the only time where Kroger beats Publix. By
maybe
far.
not the only, but definitely, yes.
Yeah.
Publix chicken has nothing on Kroger.
Nope.
I like to buy the 8-piece.
Yeah.
And then I'll come home, and my wife doesn't do fried chicken very much, so this is a Jeremy thing, right?
Nice.
And so I'll eat 2 breasts and a leg.
Mm-hmm.
And then everything else goes in the fridge because cold fried chicken rules.
Yeah, it does.
And the next day or later that night, I eat the other leg and the thighs, and I throw 2 wings away.
The fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah,
You
man.
fucking
Wings
monster.
are amazing.
I get the dark meat. I get my dark meat. Are wings even dark meat, or are they white meat?
No, well, they're dark meat because they're right by the bone. What do you have against the wings that much?
It's not. You said it 5 seconds ago. It's too much. 2 bites. Too much work. Too much mess for 2 bites of food. And they're small bites, and they often come with fat and gristle.
How are you eating your wings?
I'd not. I throw them away. I eat the other pieces of chicken.
I was sitting there listening to the story going, he's saving the wings for last.
Yeah, right? Yeah, fuck yeah. Put a little Louisiana hot on there. Sure.
Yeah.
Throw those motherfuckers away, you fucking... I'll tell you
not
what,
even edible.
put those in a container.
You might as well bread some chicken feet and put it in there. The wings are...
Chicken feet are good too, by the way.
I know what you're talking about, Jeremy. I do understand this. I think I've eaten enough wings now, though, where I don't have that issue when I eat them.
Oh, sure. And I recognize this is not... I'm not trying to put this on the world. Like, I'm not saying you should be the way I am. Mm-hmm. I recognize I don't eat... We've talked about this before. I don't eat ribs. I don't want to get that fucking messy and have to put
What about a dry rub,
slide
though?
this fucking thing all over my mouth like this and then wear a goddamn bib. I don't want that.
Nobody wears a bib.
People wear bibs.
Nobody wears a bib.
People wear bibs.
You ever had dry rub ribs?
I
Like
mean,
Rendezvous? Did you ever go to a Rendezvous when you were in Memphis?
The ribs that I have had, if I've had them, have been pulled with a
sauced.
fork
Yeah,
off of the bone
Yeah.
so that I don't have to do the work.
So, like, would you get down with, like, Arnold's country style ribs?
I think
Have
so.
you ever had those?
I don't know what that means.
Well, those are, like, based or, like, braised in sauce. So where it's falling off of the
that's
bone.
great. That's
Yeah,
different. And
Yeah.
also, I don't eat lobster for the same reason. I'll eat lobster mac and cheese. I'll eat lobster the food.
How are you not
but
gonna eat
listen,
lobster?
listen.
What?
I don't want to order a lobster where they bring me a fucking crustacean on a plate, and I have to
where you
crack
have to.
that
No,
shit
no,
open.
I understand that.
That's too much goddamn work. That's all I'm saying. I
about
like
crab?
good food. I don't like to work that hard for it.
You don't like crab like that either?
No.
Like crab legs?
No, but this is the perfect time to tell the story of when I took my brother to the Palm a few weeks ago. Because he ordered this seafood meal that's like 3 times as expensive as anything else on the menu. And it's got mussels and crab legs and different kinds of crab and clams and all this shit in it. And they bring it to him, but they don't bring him the
cracker.
the tools.
Yeah,
you need to have a cracker and a tiny fork.
Yeah.
Right? Like a nutcracker and a tiny fork. They didn't bring him any of that. So he struggles. The mussels are already half open. That's what happens when you cook. So he eats the mussels first. And then he's struggling with his fork and his other fork. And he's trying to get in there and get the meat. The waiter walks by and notices this. Now, you would think the next move would be for the waiter to bring the cracker and the tiny fork to my brother. Instead, my brother's 48 years old. Instead, this dude shows up at the table wearing gloves and the cracker and his tiny fork in his hand and proceeds to de-meat all of the seafood in my brother's bowl in front of everyone. I immediately said, "Do you need a bib too?" Because this guy was he was there for 5 minutes. I was laughing so hard I got up and went to the bathroom, hoping he would be gone when I came back, and he wasn't.
Oh, so it took him a while. It wasn't like an expert, magician.
6-7 minutes, easy. And instead of just giving my brother the tools or even showing him how to do it, this guy painstakingly pulls all the meat out of 6 crab legs and a bunch of different oh my God, it was one of the funniest fucking things I've ever seen, and I still to this day we haven't decided if he was making fun of my brother or if he was legitimately doing what he thought would get him a better tip. I'm going above and beyond here.
Yeah, it's all about. I mean, I would love that. I don't mind cracking my own crab or anything like that, but that would be fucking rad. I'd just be sitting back like I was getting a fucking blowjob.
Well, not if your kids were at the table.
Yeah.
But anyway, to this day, I don't know. I don't know what that guy's deal is. Does he think my brother's really stupid?
Does
Does he think my brother's Steve Martin from
The Jerk.
I was actually thinking when he plays Rupert in Scoundrel.
Yeah.
He has to have a cork on his fork so he doesn't hurt himself. He got a great tip. That's just my way, but I don't know. I think he thinks my brother's an idiot. I'm just going to go with that story. And
so he didn't even give him the option. He didn't say here's your cracker.
And said, I'm going to do this for you. I just started doing it. It wasn't even, if you go to the Palm, they have you get 6 waiters you have a head waiter, a water waiter, and a beverage waiter, and they all split tips. But this was the main waiter of the night.
He said,
he didn't send his lackey. He was like, I'm going to do this. I got other tables, but I'm going to do this right now.
Well, I tell you what, I mean, I think it's probably motivated by management to turn over the table, right? If your brother's going to be spending 60 minutes there cracking his shit,
maybe, but
it's
that's
worth
the kind
the 5
of place
minutes
where you spend 2-3 hours when you go to that place anyway, and it's so expensive. I'm not sure they're worried about turning tables as much as they are. I mean, if we sat there for 5 hours, they'd probably be nudging us, but we'd only been there for an hour. It's not like we were lollygagging or anything.
Here, bitch.
I mean, this is the same to me as going to a steakhouse and the waiter comes up and grabs the knife and starts cutting your steak for you. Like when you were 5 and your mom did that for you. That's what it felt like to me. Anyway.
I wish I had a guy like that when I went to a Vegas buffet casino.
Ooh.
And they had crab legs.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, yeah, crab legs. It should be easy to open this shit up and get the food out of it and everything. I got other things, but I got a couple of them, and then I came back to wherever I was sitting, and I had no idea how you were supposed to open the crab legs up at all. I tried every which way, I feel like.
Had you never had crab legs that before?
No.
Oh, wow.
And I looked around, and I saw another table that had crab legs, and I saw them just tearing it open. And I was just looking at them, and I was like, and then I would try to do what I thought they were doing. It wasn't working.
What is this sorcery?
It wasn't working. So yeah, I am as dumb as your brother.
I'm just saying.
Did you abandon ship? You just
gave up.
Gave up?
If you crack the crab legs for a man, you feed him. But if you teach the man how to crap his own crab legs. I was trying to do the teach a man to fish thing, but with the crab legs.
No, I got you. I see the analogy.
Didn't really work out.
It's like Job and Jonah.
That never happened.
What the fuck?
My God. My God.
What the fuck, man?
My God.
I don't need that image in my head.
I'm going to hell for breathing the same air as you right now.
Pretty much.
I mean, I was already going, so it's a wash. But
I don't. It's not an ad right now, but what's on Mubi is The Discreet Charm of the Bourgeoisie, which I had never seen before, and I'm thinking about watching, even if we don't have a.
It's a fucking Barrett movie and a half.
Is it really? I do like me some Boonwell.
It's both weird and hilarious, and then just like what the fuck, just all the way through it. So
I'm down.
Weird, hilarious, what the fuck.
Yep.